Hello, well met. Welcome to the pre-show hangout for Isekai Realms episode 9. I don't remember the exact title, but it has to do with an escape because we need to escape.
I
Ah!
believe I believe the exact title is "Exit the Lady in Purple."
Yeah. No, okay. So here's the question. I know you didn't run these titles past the copy editor or me because they have one of the primary parts of that job is having a dirty mind and reading everything in the worst possible way it could be read. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So,
And you've chosen this episode to make that commentary? The last one was way worse.
last one and this one, especially together, are
Man,
real dirty. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
I was channeling my inner Ed Greenwood.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think of that, honestly. I am far too much of an innocent being, I think. Which is
I
awful.
saw it immediately.
Because
We'll read it as a
normally,
stage direction.
because normally my
Allie
head,
is a cinnamon roll, okay? So her mind is too innocent to pick up on these things.
well,
Anyway.
sometimes.
So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. So exciting.
That last episode, huh?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot. I definitely, especially having the fact that I run this stuff once we all hop off here, I sit here and watch the entire thing. So I had the interesting experience of essentially secondhand embarrassment from my own flailing embarrassed self in the episode itself. So that was stereo embarrassment flailing. I don't know.
And I had a certain case of tertiary embarrassment based on something that I had created causing secondary embarrassment.
You did
So
You did this. You are the person to blame.
it is entirely my fault. We can blame me. I'm cool with taking that blame.
But I will say I enjoyed it. It was fun. So
yeah, it was a very memorable experience.
it was.
And I think Chris did an excellent job with that character.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a challenge when you're running NPCs that you've created. It's very easy for those NPCs to be true to your vision for those NPCs. When you're running NPCs that everyone in the world knows and blah blah blah, you've seen it done a million times. But when you're running NPCs that are established but not extraordinarily widely broad, and the person in question that created the NPCs, it's much more of a challenge to try to get that NPC right. I want to do it in a way that the person who created the person goes, yes, I think that's what that person would do. Otherwise, you lose that immersion that I'm always shooting for.
Yeah, there's that extra level of pressure when you're running it for that person.
Yeah.
And you're doing it as part of a show. I don't want to pull back the curtain too much here, but we don't do multiple takes. Like what you see is what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't say, okay, let's do that scene again, but more awkward. No, that's just exactly what it was.
And at most when I edit, I remove like extra stuff that isn't part of the episode or technical glitches.
We're live to tape, as I believe is the term in the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad to see that you thought that went well.
I think so.
Like I said, my goal is to try to give you the experience of doing it. That's why I've always, I've not so secretly always wanted to have Ed in one of these games. Yet it is a terrifying challenge to run the Forgotten Realms for Ed Greenwood. So maybe
dreamed up the Forgotten Realms many years ago.
Yeah, could you just imagine? Oh man, I'm on a real sticky wicket. Yeah, look what's in this hole of this tree right here.
Yeah, you do have to sort of contend with that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think the last episode was good. This episode is also quite good, I think. And then as we pointed out before, you've sort of gotten to the point where what it's all about is now on the table, and you're just rolling straight to the end.
Good.
we'd done it as a like a regular play session around the table with each other or something like that, these last 4 episodes would have been no more than 2. Would have been 2 evenings or something like that. So it's interesting to see how they play out for an audience to watch. And I'd be curious for people watching this at home, what they think of it all, and what they think of Westgate in the 1370s and the Purple Lady and the NPCs, etc., etc. The twists and turns, which are also coming your way in short order. But anyway, Rhiannon, this is an episode at the end of last episode. Remember how 2 chats ago I said that your typical approach, this is when you snatch the ring from the hand unbutton little old lady, is to let the rest of the party do their thing for a period of time until you're just done with it.
Well, they should have their chance. Like, I don't need to steamroll them.
But you began the done with it process at the conclusion of the last episode when you said, "That's it, I'm going upstairs." I thought that was particularly interesting.
Once we figured out we were in the succubus club, getting off the dance floor makes sense at a minimum.
Yeah.
Idea for how to kind of play act the whole situation, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm getting up and walking away."
Well, it was just like, so we're doing this where it's not like quite a sort of like we're doing a LARP thing, and it was a very sort of like, not even a LARP, but a sort of like I used to do mud role playing, where like it seemed like the kind of thing where you'd like make this plan to like have fun with your characters, and I'm like, no. Sorry.
No fun. Only fire. Only fire.
Well, back in my mud days, I used to accuse one of my friends of hating fun, so I'd hate to like be a fun hater myself. But...
Gotcha. No, you definitely bring the fun. That is
Yeah.
And decisive action. Sometimes.
I mean, well, this was part of why I wanted Rhiannon in this game when we started planning it, was because you have that experience and that background. And so it all factors into how you react and how you play with this. And I know it can seem sometimes like we're forcing you into the wet blanket role, but that's not that's not how I think of you. I think of you as making sound, clear decisions that the rest of us have trouble with.
For me, it's a comedy foil. I love it every time.
Well, so now I'm curious, like, what other people's, other than D&D, like tabletop instead of streamed, do other people have like other RP backgrounds?
Well, I used to play muds and mushes myself. I've done vampire LARP. I've done boffer LARP. I've done all sorts of things. So I definitely have a bit of a wide array myself.
I have done play-by-post games, which were more like writing than gaming, because I made them more like writing than like gaming, because that's just naturally where I go. And yeah. Never done any LARPing though. I've never actually been in a LARP.
That surprises me, Eric.
I've been a gamer for 30 years and I've never done it. So
yeah, I LARPed once. And everyone LARPing was taking it just a little too seriously for me not being able to kill them with lightning. So really, I was done. That was my experience of LARPing.
I don't know. I seem to think that if people see you at Gen Con, they assume you're LARPing Littlefinger, but no, that's just you. So
yeah, it's just a natural embodiment of the character.
I said that because I know Chris is going to be flattered by that. So.
I LARPed Vampire a couple of times way back in high school, and then one boffer LARP over the course of a weekend. But yeah, I was away from the hobby for a long time. So
yeah, I've definitely done quite a number of mostly parlor LARPs. So vampire, werewolf, done some mage. Mage is fun, but yeah, the only
I was just gonna say, Mage is such a freeform game. I have a hard time imagining how LARPing it would work. I've never read the rules.
So the version we used was an adaptation of the Chronicles of Darkness Mage. So like not Mage the Ascension, but Mage the Awakening. The kind of when they did all the reboots like Vampire the Requiem, Werewolf the Forsaken. So that one is a lot less freeform. Like, it's certainly flexible, but it's definitely not like, see this power? You can basically do whatever with it. Like, it's not quite to that degree.
Not the whole turning vampires into lawn chairs thing.
No. You still have some flexibility, but like, if you weren't careful, Paradox would come and find you and slap you around. Which I always was fascinated by that idea that like, yeah, you can warp the laws of reality, but reality will slap you back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it serves the forcing function for why aren't we all ruled by mages? It's like because they have to hide because, I mean, from a narrative standpoint, it makes sense for a
nerd consistency is very critical. I would agree with you about that. LARPing is, when you think about it, a play yourself game, a Isekai game, is a grand form of LARPing. But to me, doing it live action, when we're all in our vats plugged into the Matrix, I'm happy to LARP because I need a certain level of verisimilitude. Verisimilitude, am I saying that right?
Verisimilitude. Yeah.
We have 3 different versions of how to say that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty sure verisimilitude. Pretty sure.
Good. I've got a bunch of
Pretty sure.
I figured if I needed word pronunciation, somebody'd help me with that.
All right, I'll look it up. Why not?
Anyway, so yeah, but I played a bunch of games over the years, Rhiannon, like a bunch. But most things I play, I run, because spoiler alert, I'm a terrible player. And I'm hard to please. And so usually I end up running games. But go ahead.
I'm curious to know what makes you a terrible player. That's an interesting statement. I'm curious now.
Weigh in on this one.
It's like no comment. No comment. I ran a game for Chris the Grey one time. You remember I ran that Dragon Age game for us.
Oh, I remember, buddy.
One might say he'll never forget.
I don't think you were a bad player. I think you were a specific player. Like you had a very specific sort of style. Yeah. Not that you wanted to seize the spotlight from everyone else, but you wanted your story done. Like you wanted a certain amount of agency over the story.
Yes.
And maybe a bit more than most players would expect.
Also true.
And I came into it expecting you to be like that. And I trolled the hell out of you throughout that game, and it was great.
So just from those little bits, I almost feel like in Vampire LARP terms, you sound like the sort of player who would either happily killbox someone or be killboxed themselves.
Let's just say killbox.
Killboxing is the practice of essentially getting a bunch of other players and basically luring another player into a room where then you all enter combat with, basically,
I see.
and beat them down. It's actually I say that mostly as a joke, but like it is something that I found when I did LARPing to be a bit of a problem. A lot of people, instead of using like clever politics or interesting, tricks and like chess moves, they would, if someone stepped to them, they would just wreck them. They would.
I actually have a comment on that part.
Good. We have drawn him out. Let's hear this.
So The clever politics is exactly the way he would go. You would
Yeah.
fall, but you would not see him standing over you. You would see him laughing at you from the side of the corner and say, "How'd you like it now?" And everybody else is getting you because he turned the entire room against you. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Unless it's some kind of a bizarre player self, father son Call of Cthulhu thing. And
Now that is a sort of situation where he did take personal revenge from a game we had played previously to a game we
Ooh.
played later.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But yeah.
Jeff-
held a grudge out of character.
Okay, now
Maybe you are a bad
that is a
player.
bad player behavior. Do not
They
do
deserve
that
it.
in your
I
games.
mean, I'll say this.
Everyone watching that, please do not do that.
Yeah, don't do that, but these guys deserved it.
I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name names, but there was one game I played where I got I had an attempted kill box done on me by someone for essentially being slightly sassy to them in an email.
And
Oh my!
I'm not that guy.
No,
so-
you're not that guy. This was like, I was amazed. Like, I walk into the room and this guy, like 5 hitters step out of obfuscate, and I'm like, I'm kind of flattered because it was just me. And they're like some of the big name hitters from around the country that like proxied their characters into our domain in order to facilitate this whole thing. And I'm like, I'm like alarmed, but I'm also a little, like, okay, you felt like you had to bring out the heavy hitters. All right.
You take me seriously.
So what I ended up doing, that one I'm proud of myself though, because I talked my way out of it.
That is always important.
Yeah, the name of the game is survival. Everything else can come later. So I got like temporarily exiled from the area, and then talked my way back in later.
So the name of the game being survival, that takes us back to our adventure tonight. And what did you all think, those of you who are downstairs in the main room, as A, time just kept ticking by while some of your players were upstairs, and B, you got a glimpse of what was around you in the room?
Well, okay, since obviously we could hear what was going on upstairs out of character, we knew what was going on, but in real life, I absolutely would have been worried at that point that they were dead, given how long they've been gone. I mean, it doesn't take 45 minutes to have a meeting normally.
Normally.
Yeah.
I feel
And-
like
True seeing experience? What did you think of that, of how I handled true seeing? Do you remember?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
no,
liked how you described it. I thought it was really cool.
but I wasn't there.
And you were there for that, but didn't actually have the experience because
Right.
as Finn only had 2 hands. Do you remember that bit?
Yep. Yeah. We saw it and we had to communicate it to Rhiannon. No, I absolutely remember it. But giving us a good idea of exactly how much trouble we were in. Very effective of like, nope. Our one magic weapon is upstairs. So
Actually, several blocks away at that
well,
point.
yeah, but the one person who can summon a magic weapon is upstairs. We were in real trouble. And especially once you told us that the bouncers had moved inside, it's like, okay, we are in danger. We need to get out.
I'm in
Was-
danger.
Was that the point at which you concluded that you were in over your heads, or did you feel prior to that you were in over your heads?
When we split the party, I think we knew. I would say that when Randy and I decided to turn around and come back was the time when I felt like, hey, we are absolutely in over our heads. We have 2 people who could potentially injure vampires, and neither of them is here. So, and there was just that very much moment of, am I in an adventure movie or am I in a horror movie? Do I walk down the stairs into the dark basement? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm in a horror movie. So we'll go ahead and turn around.
Yeah, let's not go into the basement.
Right.
But yeah. And Rhiannon, how about you?
Well, I mean, I guess I just sort of like had some kind of feeling of like, well, of course they're all vampires, because yeah. But that may be hindsight.
2020.
Actually, well, I was thinking of this game in the Fearful Symmetry, which is the Wednesdays. It's our Westgate Irregulars characters. Because in the Hangout before that, we were talking about like which monsters we hadn't ever like actually encountered.
Mm.
And so I was thinking like these are all like great monsters to like think about encountering when you're a character who's like reasonably high level, but um the vampires like are scary enough. I was thinking about like well, I mean low level characters, even the mimic, like you don't want to encounter those. So
There's that primitive fear of being eaten, like far thing
yeah.
than being eaten. So that's
Well, and then like in the episode we were fighting an elder brain dragon. So yay.
Which
It's a wild game. I highly recommend people go check it
Yeah,
out.
definitely recommend.
I mean, because I'm still a little like, because my character rather than me, don't do this to us, Chris. This is not a suggestion. Got the like the brain tadpoles and dropped like not quite dead, but like nearly dead. And so then our choices at that point were wish or smash her head open and then resurrect her.
Yeah.
And for the other ones who'd been tadpole infected but hadn't dropped yet, you could be healed enough. And they're like, "Oh, we'll heal her." And Aaron's like, "No, sorry, that's off the table now. You got wish, you got head squish. That's what you got."
I was very much
That's
flashing
awful.
back on the first season of I don't know if anybody else has played it, the Telltale Walking Dead game.
Yes. Yes. One of my favorite games, hands down. I
Hmm.
replay it. I replay it often.
Wish would seem to be the better choice from among those two options, but wish is a spell you have to be terribly careful with.
Assuming you even have someone who can cast it. I mean, it's
Well,
easier.
I
It's
think
easier
Well,
to cast
Artemisia
resurrection.
can cast it
well,
theoretically.
Can you?
yeah,
She is high enough level to do so,
I took time stop instead of wish because
Mhm.
I decided it was
which is amazing anyway. So yeah.
yeah, I forget quite what my thought process was at the time, but it seemed like more interesting in a character arc way as opposed to a like mechanical like burn through encounters kind of way. Not to have wish, but to have time stop. So I suppose if I level up again, post the tadpole braining, I could take wish instead.
That one around.
That game we're also lacking a cleric, so
Oh yes, that's true, right? I'll give you all a piece of cheap advice about playing in my world, which will apply to anybody who happens to be playing in any of the upcoming 2-shot, 3-shots, whatever we're calling them now. If you ever get your hands on a wish, the safest way to use wish is to directly emulate something else, because then there's much less likely of a chance that the powers that be are going to decide to play with what you've given them by your wish. The more you choose to undo something that was supposed to have happened or to bend reality, the more of a chance that you will attract the attention of something that decides it wants to be very specific about
Mhm.
the words that you've chosen to use.
Ooh. Okay. So many potential monkey's paw situations.
So many potential monkey paw situations.
Stat increasing seems like a safe bet, but
Stat increasing is a safe bet, actually.
So we got to go to the ad break in just a second. But before we do that, I want to give a brief teaser about what we're going to do next month in this slot, which is that the Dungeon Scrollers are starting to record a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You may have noticed Star Wars books behind me. It doesn't use that system, though. Anyway, it's going to be really excellent. And check the Discord for more teases and more hints and we'll be talking about it this month because it starts in November. So look forward to it.
So you started the recording?
Recorded the first episode this last weekend, and it was a banger. And that is, I have been gaming for 30 years, and that was a really good game. Okay, so look
Met,
forward to it.
met your DM. He seems like a good fellow, so I'm looking at that game.
I'm not the DM, by the way. I just want everyone to know that. Anyway, all right.
Cool.
I guess we're good. So,
Yeah.
enjoy the episode. See you later.